Throughout the long summer and crisp fall days before my mother's trial, I'd overheard much more than my parents realized, and understood more than they would have liked.
I think we're all right, Sybil. Really, I do. There's no way they can find you guilty. You're the lawyer, Stephen. Tell her.
I think we have cause to be optimistic.
The jury's back.
They've only been out 4 hours. Is that good?
Oh, it's best not to read too much into it. But we should go.
I'll go get Connie.
I never liked this time of year. The leaves have turned, but there's no snow yet.
Sybil, whatever.
It's that in-between time, you know? Everything gray. No color. And it's cold.
I heard you could tell what the jury had decided the minute they walked into the courtroom by the way they looked at the defendant, or refused to look at her. Stephen told us that was nonsense, just another one of the great myths of litigation. But it made sense to me.
Look at her. Look at her. Look at my mom.
All right. Be seated.
Oh, God, please. Please look at her. Look at her.
Have you reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor.
No! That's it, Wanda. You can do it. Come on.
Keep pushing.
A little more.
Oh, I love you. Keep
A
pushing.
little more.
Keep pushing.
A little more. Come on.
Good girl.
Oh, come
Good
on.
girl.
The baby's
Good girl.
coming.
Keep pushing. Keep
You're
pushing.
doing
Keep
great. Almost there.
Oh, oh, Caleb.
Here, honey. Here.
We're never doing this again. Do you understand? Never again.
Don't worry, honey. Mommy says silly things when we have a baby.
We? When was the last time you pushed something the size of a watermelon out of... Oh, Sybil.
You can do it. You can do it.
down.
This is the one. Now, ready? Ready? That's it. Good girl.
Good girl.
Here it comes. Okay, pants.
The summer before I started high school, more than a year earlier, the trial was still a lifetime away. And the tragedy that took over our lives would have been impossible to imagine.
Okay, here's your baby.
Oh, she's a beautiful girl.
Since the late 60s, my mother had been one of a dozen independent lay midwives in Vermont. But it was no job. It was her greatest joy.
Hey, sweetie, come here and meet your baby sister.
Well, Hannah, say hi. Say hi to your sister.
it again.
Oh.
Thought I heard you come in. How did it go?
Oh, Rand, you should have seen her. What a little beauty.
What time did this one weigh in?
4 o'clock. They named her Julia.
4? The baby came at 4?
Rand, I had to get everyone settled in. I had to make sure Julia was nursing and that Wanda was up and around. Is there any more coffee?
You're not going to bed?
No, Elizabeth Anderson's going to be here soon for her prenatal.
Sybil, you've been up all night.
Oh, I don't care. I couldn't sleep now anyway. But I will think I'll have a cup of coffee and your bagel.
I'm leaving. I was thinking maybe, Outer Mongolia.
Well, send my regards to Genghis Khan. I'm busy, not deaf, Connie. Hey, where are you going?
The West End's to ride.
Well, you look pretty dolled up for some old horse.
I'm babysitting Foogie Bedford at 4. Mr. Bedford's so funny. He plays with Foogie like they're both 5 years old. And Mrs. Bedford's really sweet.
Bedford, that's the preacher and his wife, right? The ones who moved up here from Alabama?
Mom, I've only been babysitting for them all summer. What do you write every day in those books anyway?
Not every day. I make notes on my patients and just observations on life in general. I like to keep a record of each birth. You'd be amazed at how different
Mom,
they are.
I get it.
Why don't I drive you over to the Bedfords this afternoon? We can visit on the way up.
Okay. Thanks, Mom.
Hi, Connie.
Hi, Tom.
After you.
Sorry, sweetie, I can't take you after all. Lily Harper's baby's coming. But I called Dad, and he's rearranged some things so he can take you to the Bedfords. Oh, and I took some hamburger out of the freezer. Do you mind making dinner for the two of you?
I guess not.
Anything you need before I go?
A foster mother.
I'll see what I can do. Maybe it'll be a short labor this time.
Maybe.
Give me a kiss. Have fun.
So, what's with you and Tom Courts?
Who?
Oh, you know. 6 feet, 140, blonde, blue.
Green.
Excuse me, green eyes. 15 years old, smokes cigarettes.
Do you pay your spies, or is it strictly on a volunteer basis?
He's not your type.
I'm 13. I don't have a type yet.
13 and a half. He's a delinquent.
He writes poetry.
And comes from a long line of garage mechanics who buy beer with food stamps.
Ah, the dream life.
If you keep your tetanus shots current.
Good one, Dad.
You know, I love how you take my advice to heart.
Keenan.
Hey, Keenan.
Looking good.
Feeling good. I just found all these cars on Auto Trader.
Wow.
I wait for the best part there, Microwave. A dealer is going to deliver this car to our home.
Never leave home. Never leave home.
Oh, it's here. There is one thing I can't do from home. Drive.
Someone stop him.
Keenan!
Get your letter, refrigerator. Roll out. And I swear.
JC tried game flings for the first time the other day and forgot where she was. You can always spot a first-time game flings user.
Super Emma just about sleeps in her cave. But when we realized she was battling sensitive skin, we switched to Tide Hygienic Clean Free. It's gentle on her skin and out-cleans our old free detergent. Tide Hygienic Clean Free. Hypoallergenic and safe for sensitive skin.
Ever notice how stiff clothes can feel rough on your skin? It's because they rub against you, creating friction. And your clothes rub against you all day. For softer clothes that are gentle on your skin, try Downy Free and Gentle. Just pour into the rinse dispenser, and Downy will soften your clothes without dyes or perfumes. The towel washed with Downy is softer, fluffier, and gentler on your skin. Try Downy Free and Gentle, recognized by the National Psoriasis Foundation and National Eczema Association.
We'll make a new bet around every 2 seconds. Not only on the game, but on the game of life. Betting that love is just a swipe away. Betting on picking up that curious hitchhiker carrying a bowling bag. And betting that he doesn't turn out to be a cornhole prodigy. Every moment in life is a bet. But life doesn't offer you up to $1,000 back in free bets if you don't win. So bet on America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. And make every moment more.
I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to babysit for you much longer. You must be excited about starting high school. A little nervous, to tell the truth. Mrs. Bedford, are you okay? I'll be all right.
Oh, look who's here.
Hi, Boogie. Hello, Reverend Bedford.
Hello, Connie. Glad to see you. You ready, honey?
I just have to get my purse. Oh, go get your colors, sweetie. You could draw a picture for Connie. I've been meaning to ask you. Is your mom really a midwife?
Sure. She's delivered about 1 million babies.
Charlotte, I'm gonna be late.
Are you?
I'm fine now, really. We shouldn't be too late. Help yourself to whatever you want in the fridge.
Thanks. Bye. That fall, Mom was busier than ever. But by October, Tom and I were boyfriend and girlfriend, and the need for my mother's attention had all but vanished.
We need to talk about Connie.
What about her?
Well, you've been running from one delivery to the next for months.
Man, she's 13. The last thing in the world she wants is me hovering.
Well, it's not what she wants, it's what she needs. I thought we agreed.
I know what my daughter needs.
Fine. You're right, Sybil. You're always right.
Look, I've been thinking about getting a new apprentice. Would that help?
You tell me.
Fran, I'm here for you and for Connie. You know that.
You know, even when you're here, you're distracted. Do you spend any real time with her?
Yes, I do. Look, I know you're nervous about this boyfriend thing, but she's a sensible girl.
Never mind. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it has nothing to do with Connie. Hey, why don't we go out to dinner next week? Just the two of us.
Because you can't plan a week ahead. Somebody might go into labor.
I would have come to you, but with one car and Asa traveling all over and all. Well, anyway, I sure appreciate you coming over.
Oh, it's nothing. I had to come out this direction anyway.
A lot of questions here.
Well, I do need a complete medical history. Now, tell me about your diet. You getting plenty of protein? Charlotte?
I just don't know how I'm going to manage.
Oh, a home birth is an incredible experience. You'd be amazed at what your body can do.
Oh, it's not that. Fuki was an easy baby. Had him at home, too. It's just, well, I don't know what Ace is going to say.
Well, I'm sure he'll be thrilled. Connie tells me he's a wonderful father.
Oh, he is. It's It's just we're not situated yet, and... Well, I've never even seen snow. Asa doesn't have a regular congregation. We don't have any friends. We don't even have any neighbors out here.
Well, I bet we can put together everything you need for this baby. Lots of people around here have had babies, and you know how fast they grow out of everything.
I guess God doesn't put anything on us we can't handle.
Everything's gonna be just fine, Charlotte. And you're gonna love the snow.
Thanks.
Gloves, sterile gauze. Oh, and we need some more betadine.
Mom?
Oh, Connie, this is Ann Heston, my new apprentice.
Hi.
My daughter, Connie.
Hi. Can I get a ride into town? It's too cold to walk.
Well, you want to go with me? I'm headed that way.
Great, thanks. I'll go get my coat. Okay.
This should be enough.
All right. Thanks, Mrs. Danforth, for taking me on.
It's Sybil.
I can't wait to deliver a baby.
Well, it'll be a while before you can do that. There's a lot to learn.
I'll work very hard, and I'm a fast learner.
Good.
Come on, Fergie, I'm late for my appointment. You little monkey. Come on now, honey.
You testified that you asked someone to bring you a knife.
That's right.
A sharp knife?
I don't think I would have asked for a dull one.
The sharpest knife in the house. Were those your words?
They may have been.
Charlotte Bedford went into labor with her second child on Thursday, March 13th. Phone records later showed that she had called her husband at 1:30, spoke for 3 minutes, then called my mother at 1:40.
Someone they know from town came for Fugi, and I've had Charlotte walking some, resting some.
Good. What about her vitals?
BP 130/85, pulse 90. It's also amazing.
Well, let's see how she's doing. How you feeling?
Excited. There's new snow on the mountain. Did you see it?
How about you, Asa? You ready for a new baby?
You bet.
That was a good one. What did you get, Ann?
20 seconds.
Fugi took about 9 hours. Second one's usually less, isn't it?
Usually. But you never know.
I'd like to offer a prayer. Dear Holy Father, we ask that you help your child Charlotte through this time. Give her the strength and the courage to endure. We ask that you protect her and the baby from harm, and be with us during this joyful occasion so that we might serve you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Did Mom say how long she'll be?
You know, you can't predict when a baby will be born. So she's figuring around 9:47 p.m.
Eight centimeters. You're doing great. Almost there.
I can't do this.
You're doing fine.
No, I can't. Oh, God.
I know it's hard, but you can do it, Charlotte. You're fully dilated. You can start pushing now.
No, this is different. It's not like the last time. Something's wrong. Please help me.
The Lord is my shepherd. shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still water.
110/70.
Just leave it on.
He restoreth my soul.
In spite of this, you still saw the delivery as normal?
Righteousness for his name's
Yes,
sake.
it was difficult, but not life-threatening. And the baby was fine.
So you continued to encourage her,
Yes.
urge her on.
Yes. Okay. Charlotte, big push now.
Is that when you noticed the blood?
No, it was later, just after 1:30.
And how long had she been laboring by then?
About 15 hours, more or less.
You're doing great. You're doing straight.
Anne.
Oh, Asa. 80/50. Pulse 130.
Baby's at 90.
Is that all right? Is the baby all right?
Charlotte, don't push. Just try to breathe through this next one.
60/40.
Charlotte, I think it would be in your best interest and the baby's to go to the hospital. You may be bleeding inside.
Oh, God. Let's go.
I'll just call an ambulance to take her there. I think that would be the easiest. Anne, can you go check the phones downstairs? Just hang in there, Charlotte. Don't push.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.
The phones must be down.
Well, we'll just take her ourselves. Anne, will you get some blankets? Asa, you stay here with Charlotte while I go warm up the car. Charlotte, just hang in there and don't push.
The record shows that the rain had turned to ice at 11:45, 2 hours earlier. Weren't you concerned that the roads were icy?
I didn't know that.
You were calm,
Yes.
but you were afraid for the baby.
Yes.
You knew you wouldn't be going anywhere,
Yes.
and that no one would be coming to help. You were trapped.
Yes.
Speak up, Mrs. Danforth.
Yes. We were trapped.
Okay, Sybil. Fine now. It's gonna be all right.
Her blood pressure's back to normal, and she stopped bleeding.
Well, let me get my hands washed and we'll get that little baby out of you.
We're not going to the hospital.
We can't. The roads are solid ice. And she seems fine now.
Fine? Did you see?
Don't you dare fall apart on me. It's up to us now, so just do your job and everything will be all right.
I'm Samantha.
And I'm Dan.
And we renovate RVs. Before we had Chime, we were pretty much paycheck to paycheck.
My favorite feature of Chime is their spot fee. It just gives me peace of mind when I'm buying stuff.
We use Chime's secured credit builder card, and we've upped our credit score 40 points.
By making everyday purchases with on-time payments. I Chime because building our future and planning ahead financially has never been easier.
That's it, honey. You're doing fine.
You can do it, Charlotte.
A little more. That's it. A little more.
Dr. Tierney, could you tell how far the baby progressed in those hours between 2 and 6 a.m.?
There's no way of knowing.
According to the records, Charlotte Bedford endured this nightmare for some 20 hours without painkillers.
Objection.
Sustained.
And she'd been pushing for 4, giving it all she had. And you can't tell me how far the baby progressed?
No.
I hate to do this. Sure you can, Charlotte. Just a little more. You're making progress.
So it's possible that in all that time, the baby had not progressed at all.
As I said, there is no way of knowing.
Charlotte, listen to me. Your baby's fine, and so are you, but I think you need to rest for a little bit. So don't push for a while, okay? Can you do that? Was that a sand truck?
No, sir. None of us was sanding between 2:15 and 6:30. Not a one.
But you did go out at 6:30.
Yes, sir. But the roads were just plain awful. Solid ice. I had to drive right on top of the yellow line just to sand and scrape a single lane. If I'd have been on one side or the other, I would have ended up in a ditch.
You didn't know how fast the temperature would drop?
No, sir. Nobody knew.
I want to try again. Okay. When the next one comes, just give it everything you've got. Okay. I think this is going to be the one. Good girl. Good girl. A little more. I can see the top of the baby's head. A little more.
Charlie?
Charlotte. Charlotte. Charlotte.
What's happening? What is it? What is it? Is she all right?
1, 2, 3.
Sybil, she gonna be all right?
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 15.
Charlotte. Oh, dear God, please. Is she gonna be all right, Sybil? Please.
Come on, Charlotte. Come on. Come on, Charlotte. Don't give up. Come on, Charlotte. Please. Come on. Fight.
Come on, Charlotte. Come on, Charlotte. Fight. Come on. Charlotte, please. Oh, God, Asa, I can't get a pulse. She's gone.
No.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No. 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 My Charlotte, no.
Get me a knife. The sharpest one in the house.
And you did as she asked?
Yes.
Did you know what she was going to do?
I thought maybe try and save Charlotte.
With a knife?
Mrs. Danforth was in charge. I wasn't.
Can you tell me, Anne, how many births you had assisted?
This was my 4th.
Why did you go with Reverend Bedford instead of staying with Mrs. Danforth?
Charlotte, I believed Mrs. Bedford was dead. I didn't want to be there.
Oh, Charlotte. Charlotte. Oh,
We've got to hurry.
What are you gonna do?
Gotta try to save your baby. We don't want them both to die.
You didn't ask Reverend Bedford's permission?
No.
It was his wife. His baby.
If he'd said no, I would have done it anyway. I had to try to save the baby.
And you thought you could?
I didn't think about it, I just did it. I had no choice.
Had you ever done a C-section before?
No, of course not.
But you proceeded anyway.
Yes.
Never remember a storm like this in March. Not in the last 10 years, anyway.
We'll do the autopsy as soon as we get back to Burlington.
All right.
Standard procedure. Nothing to alarm you.
Excuse me.
They're taking the baby to the hospital. North County in Newport. Check him over.
Are you all right? You did just fine, Ann. Don't worry. We'll talk later.
What are you doing home? Where's Mom?
She's upstairs, asleep. Look, you need to be gentle with her for a while.
Because of what happened to Mrs. Bedford?
You know about it?
Just that she died in childbirth. Nobody knew about the baby. Did it die too?
No, he's fine. The Reverend named him Vale.
Everybody kept asking me if Mom was there. I said yes. Is that okay?
Of course. Connie, of course. Look, your mom did nothing wrong. Sometimes women die in childbirth. Not often, but it does happen.
They said it was really bloody.
My God, where are you hearing all this?
At school. Everybody's talking about it. Dad, what happened?
She knows.
Honey, is there anything you want to know?
Are you okay?
I'm okay. Just sad. Just really sad. Has Anne called?
Not yet.
Hope she's all right. Honey, I need to go call Anne. I'm going to go up to my office, okay? The room was very quiet. Even the ice and snow had stopped banging against the window. I didn't want to hurt the baby. I told myself I just had to be incredibly careful.
Can't this wait until tomorrow?
I'm sorry, sir, it can't. But I promise it won't take too long.
Connie, maybe you better go upstairs.
Why don't I finish cooking dinner?
No, that's all right, sweetie. It's okay.
Please, come in.
Please sit down.
Oh, thank you. I am sorry to bother you, Mrs. Danforth. We just need an account of what happened while it's still fresh in your mind.
I heard it all. How Mrs. Bedford had died. How my mother saved the baby. Every detail of what they all had endured.
If you could just read this over, check it for accuracy, and then just sign it right there.
Wait, I don't think that's such a good idea.
It's okay, Rand. I want to help in any way I can.
Thanks. Thanks for your cooperation.
Years later, my father would still believe he might have changed everything that happened if he'd insisted on having a lawyer present that night.
I keep thinking of Asa. And those motherless little boys.
I know.
I couldn't save her. I tried. I just couldn't save her. Mom? Oh, Connie, what are you doing up, honey?
I was thirsty. Are you okay?
I'm a little sore, but I'm fine. Dad's gonna take me to get my ankle x-rayed tomorrow over in Burlington, and we're gonna check out some lawyers while we're there.
Why?
Oh, in case there's a lawsuit or something.
But you saved the baby.
Well, Dad just wants to be prepared.
Mom, what do you think happened?
I'm not sure. Charlotte had some kind of a seizure, cerebral aneurysm, probably. Yeah, a stroke. Wasn't anything I could do. Why don't you go into bed, man? Try not to worry. Everything's gonna be okay.
All right. Good night, Mom.
Good night, sweetie.
I sensed the pretense even then, and I wondered how long she could keep up the strong front. She was lost, and she didn't know it yet. That quality she had, part confidence, part optimism, part joy, that sometimes seemed to fill whole rooms when she entered, had vanished. As if a light had simply gone out.
I'm Samantha.
And I'm Dan.
And we renovate RVs. Before we had Chime, we were pretty much paycheck to paycheck.
My favorite feature of Chime is their spot fee. It just gives me peace of mind when I'm buying stuff.
We use Chime's secured credit builder card, and we've upped our credit score 40 points.
By making everyday purchases with on-time payments. I Chime because building our future and planning ahead financially has never been easier.
Welcome to the neighbourhood. Now, did you know that Geico could help with your homeowner's insurance?
Cookies.
Oh, it's my mum's secret recipe.
A little nutmeg in there?
It's a secret.
Is it cinnamon?
It's my mum's secret recipe.
Geico.
Check it
Hi, you've reached the Danforth. Leave us a message and we'll call you back.
Hello, I'm looking for Sybil Danforth. This is Joe Meehan with the Sentinel. I'll call back later.
I got 3 names, but everybody tells me that this Stephen Hastings is the best lawyer in Vermont. Really smart. Handled some very tough cases. We've probably seen him on the news. Connie, it's me.
Good morning. This is Maggie Presser with the Burlington Free Press.
I want to get all Mrs. Bedford's prenatal records, bring in an investigator, that sort of thing. Meanwhile, don't talk about this to anyone. Not a soul. Don't tell me everything either. I'll ask you what I need to know as we go along.
Mr. Hastings, no offense. I know this is your job, but aren't you overreacting a little bit?
Please, it's Stephen. You know, the fact is, a woman died under unusual circumstances. And my guess is they'll look to blame someone. From what you've told me so far, the state could charge you with involuntary manslaughter, stemming from recklessness or extreme negligence. State's attorney might make some noise about it being intentional. Not that that means anything. He just has to act tough.
I did what I had to do.
She saved that baby's life.
And as far as I'm concerned, the state should damn well give you a medal. But I think we should be prepared.
Look, the list of things that can go wrong in childbirth is frightening, and it's endless. And what this tragedy proves is that women should have their babies in the safety of a hospital.
Dr. Dumont, as an obstetrician, do you think Mrs. Bedford would have died had she been in a hospital?
At this point, I don't know. What I do know is that she wouldn't have had her stomach ripped open with a kitchen knife. What I do know is that she would not have had to endure a C-section without anesthesia.
The state attorney's office is investigating, but sources tell us it may take some time to decide whether there's basis for criminal charges or whether it's merely a civil matter.
Have to wait for the autopsy report to answer the question on everyone's mind. How?
It's on every channel.
Turn the damn thing off.
Reverend Bedford, do you have a comment, sir?
Yes, I'm grateful to be blessed with another child. Thank you.
Stephen's right. They are going to find a way to blame me for this.
How are you coping with what's happening?
tyrant.
Cheryl, what are you doing here?
Stuff from the Midwives Co-op, insurance companies, law firms, articles, all sorts of good crap. I got here as soon as I could. Are you all right? I wouldn't be. Pisses me off, I tell you. So, listen to this. Study from the University of...
Who is that?
It says the patients are certified...
Cheryl Visco, midwife militia.
Patients cared for by physicians. I need the patients back. They don't know what they're talking about. I say, bull crap. The medical establishment is just using this tragedy to promote their cause. I mean, come on. They all know damn well women labor more effectively at home. And I'm sick.
Should we offer her some coffee or something?
You know,
Are you crazy? The woman never shuts up as it is. We'll be lucky to get her out of here by 10.
Maybe it'll help Mom.
You know, they're going to start with the weak Saturday. So mark my words. Tomorrow's headline.
Could you tell me where I could find Sybil Danforth? I'm her lawyer.
You don't look like a lawyer.
Well, what's a lawyer look like?
I don't know. Nerdy. Boring.
Thanks. I think. Stephen Hastings, attorney at law.
I'm her daughter. I'll show you.
Sybil, they're not going to come after you just because a lot of doctors don't approve of midwives.
They already are coming after me.
That's just the media. It's the state's attorney who decides whether or not to press charges. Here. How's that?
Good. Thanks. He's been looking to make a name for himself. He'll be all over an emotional issue like this.
You let me worry about Tanner, all right?
Sorry I'm late.
Set up over here, would you? I don't want her to have to move.
Brought some iced tea. Oh my God.
They're just gonna take pictures of my skinned knees, sweetie.
You're in 9th grade, Connie?
Uh-huh.
Union High School?
Yeah.
You know Darren Royce?
Mr. Royce? He's my biology teacher.
Well, he and I used to be in the military, the Army. Have you see him?
Hello, how are you, BP? Good to see
In the 9 years that BP Hewitt had been my mother's backup doctor, the records would show that out of 463 deliveries, there were 28 times my mother had transferred a patient to the hospital, and only 11 where Dr. Hewitt had surgically removed the infant.
Have you finished your homework?
Almost. I just was going to get something to drink.
Okay. Come in. Come in.
One time, a baby was stillborn, but all agreed it would have been even in a hospital. Never once did a mother die.
So you got yourself a lawyer?
Yeah, we hired a lawyer a week ago. Just in case. Why?
But you haven't spoken to Anne yet.
No, not since the birth. I've been leaving messages for her, but she hasn't called back. I'll see her tomorrow, though. We have prenatals all afternoon.
I don't think so, Sybil. I think she's avoiding you.
Why would she do that?
How long has she been your apprentice?
3 or 4 months.
And you two get on okay.
Oh, sure.
You're stalling, BP. What's going on?
I was interviewed today by a couple of state troopers. It seems that when you made that incision into Mrs. Bedford, Anne says she saw blood spurt. She says she saw it a couple of times. She and Asa both saw it. At least that's what she told the state's attorney's office.
Blood spurt? What are you talking about?
Blood only spurts from a beating heart.
They're saying that when I operated, Charlotte was still alive.
Yes.
There's no way. I don't care if they both say they saw it.
They don't think I know if somebody's alive or dead.
Sybil, you're the best
medical
midwife
training.
in 3 states. You could never make that kind
There
of
must
mistake.
be some reason Anne would make something up like this. A grudge or something.
This is insane. What was I supposed to do? Let the baby die?
Well, what do you think I should do? I see. I understand. No, I'll tell her. Thanks, Stephen. He says that whatever they saw or think they saw, it doesn't matter. He says that Asa is a distraught and grieving husband, and that Anne is a young girl who panicked. He says we wait for the autopsy report.
He's right. That'll put an end to this nonsense.
Mom? They released the autopsy report. No sign of stroke or seizure. According to the medical examiner, she was alive when I took the baby. He says she bled to death.
What?
I was just thinking about how grown up you are. Thanks. So tell me about your boyfriend.
Dad doesn't like him.
Oh, he's your father. That's his job. But you know, Connie, these are the years you'll define what it means to be a woman.
Oh no, this isn't gonna be another sex talk, is it? We've been having those since I was 2. I think my first word was vulva.
That was your second. Seriously, honey, I know we've talked about the physical part, but it's an emotional step too. It can be very confusing.
I'm not confused. I'm not even thinking about it.
Good. That's good. It's just that things aren't always as predictable as we like to think. They can change so fast. I just wanted to be sure I had a chance to tell you these things.
Are you going somewhere I don't know about?
Hey, you are stuck with me for at least the next 1,000 years.
At some point, there could be some talk about a settlement. Anything from pleading to a lesser charge, reduced sentence, maybe even probation. The important thing is no jail time.
No jail time? You've got to be kidding.
We'll delay as long as we can.
I don't want to delay.
Well, the longer we delay, the greater the chance they'll move on to some real criminals.
I don't care, Stephen. I want this over with. I want my life back.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be bothering you with all this. I'm just being an attorney. You know how we are.
No, actually, I don't know. You're the only one I've ever met, thank God. Oh, no offense.
You've just never needed one before.
That's good?
Yeah, that's good. So I'm your first.
You're my first, so to speak.
I'm flattered.
I'm surprised you're not sick of me by now. I spend more time with you than I do with my husband. sweetie.
Hi, Connie.
Mr. Hastings brought good news.
It's over?
Well, not that good. But at least they don't think your mom is a murderer. They just think I'm a lousy midwife.
Sybil, that's not what they think.
Oh, excuse me. They just think I can't tell if a woman is alive or dead.
They think you made a mistake.
A gross mistake. A reckless mistake.
Anyway, if this mess ever comes to trial, it won't be a murder trial, and that's the good news.
Then what will it be?
Involuntary manslaughter, which means they think it was a mistake.
Where's Dad?
He's at work. Why? I'll be right back. Connie, what's the matter with you?
Why does he have to be here all the time?
He's my lawyer.
He acts like he's your boyfriend or something.
Don't be silly. He's a friend.
So now he's your lawyer and a friend.
Connie, you know I love your father very much. But I need Stephen too right now. Can't you understand that?
Does Dad?
She doesn't have to put those on. Come on. She's not a critic. She came out willingly.
It's okay.
Your Honor, a midwife is by nature an outlaw, someone who puts women and babies at risk for no reason other than a mindless and backward distaste for modern medicine.
Mr. Tanner, outlaw? I can do without the hyperbole.
A tragedy brought us here, and we've got a long road ahead. Let's get on with it.
The state believes that Mrs. Danforth poses a significant flight risk, and we request that bail be set in the amount of $35,000.
That's ridiculous, Your Honor. Sybil Danforth has lived here all her life. She has a child in the local high school. Her husband has a successful architectural
And
practice.
she's facing 15 years if convicted.
It's absurd.
That's enough. I see no reason to impose a monetary condition for release. There are, however, other conditions. In the first place, you may not leave the state. If you have an emergency that requires you to leave, your lawyer will first have to notify the court. Lastly, that Mrs. Danforth will suspend her practice until the conclusion of the trial. Do you understand these terms and conditions?
Yes.
What about your mother's?
I'll have to refer them to other midwives. Or doctors, if that's what they want. People are going to say some awful things about your mom.
I don't care. They're idiots.
I have time to look into that foster mother for you now.
That's okay. I think I'll keep the one I've got.
Sybil?
Thank you. You know, I was just thinking, I haven't seen Vale since he was born.
Well, I hear he's doing fine.
Good. I'm glad for that. I can't help but wonder if he'll grow up to hate me. If he'll blame me, too.
Blame you for what?
For killing his mother.
Okay, I'm an alien.
If you're making a sci-fi movie, you need to finish the special effects.
Does that look good?
And if you want to save by bundling home and car insurance, you need Geico.
Uh-oh.
You didn't say much at dinner. You sure you want to go tomorrow?
I'm sure.
You seem to be handling this well. I guess I can't help but worry that it's all wounding you in some way that I can't see.
I'm fine, really.
I'm sorry, sweetie. Things are supposed to be simple at your age.
Mom, nothing's ever been simple for me. Not once. You're the one who always had it figured out, not me.
Sounds like I had us both fooled.
I love you.
I love you too. Sleep well, honey.
Connie, what are you doing up?
I couldn't sleep. Is that work?
These? No, they're some of the cases Stephen researched while he was putting your mom's defense together.
Do you think he's a good lawyer?
I do. Your mom's lucky to have him.
She's lucky to have you.
She knows that. And she knows when this is all over, I'll be here. Come on. We could both use some sleep.
Do you think they'll find her innocent?
Oh, yes. If they don't, we'll appeal.
You talked about that?
It's come up. With Stephen, yes.
Why does he have to be her lawyer?
Because he's the best. Listen, Connie. This is hard on us. But it's harder on your mom. Now, we may want to charge in there to protect her. But the best way we can take care of her right now is to be here when she needs us and let Stephen do his job.
You're pretty cool, Dad.
Try to get some sleep.
Ladies and gentlemen, Charlotte Bedford is dead. For one reason. Sybil Danforth killed her, pure and simple. Now, the defense will tell you that Sybil Danforth is a remarkable person, an excellent wife and mother. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is that her criminal recklessness resulted in the death of a 29-year-old wife and mother, and her cavalier use of a kitchen knife means that a baby will never know the woman who should have raised him. Now, the facts will show that from the first moment that Charlotte and Asa Bedford first sat down with Sybil Danforth, she behaved with the sort of incomprehensible negligence that could only result in tragedy. Did Mrs. Danforth consider that a laboring woman might be trapped in an isolated house if something should go wrong? No. And in the early hours of March 14th, when she did realize that Charlotte Bedford was in trouble and trapped miles and miles from the help she needed, what did she do? She had her push and push and push. Hours beyond what any doctor would have allowed, without anesthesia, without painkillers. She had her push so long, she thought she'd killed her, but she hadn't. The fact is, Charlotte Bedford didn't die from her agonizing ordeal. She bled to death because Mrs. Danforth took a 10-inch kitchen knife and cut her open.
Ladies and gentlemen, women have been having babies at home since the beginning of time. And they've been tended by knowledgeable, tireless, and loving midwives like Sybil Danforth. State wants to talk facts? Okay, let's do it. Statistics show that today a planned home delivery is every bit as safe as a hospital one, for mothers as well as for babies. Statistically, Sybil Danforth's babies did every bit as well as the ones born in North County Hospital. And the mothers did better That's right. Better. The fact is that in all these years of delivering hundreds of babies, tending to hundreds of mothers, one woman died. Charlotte Bedford. And don't misunderstand me. That is a terrible tragedy, and one that Sybil Danforth will mourn for the rest of her life. But the fact is that she did not act recklessly, and she did not kill anyone. She saved someone. Sybil did what any decent and courageous person would do faced with the same horrific choice. 2 deaths or 1. She rescued that baby from his dead mother. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not criminal negligence. That's courage.
So, Dr. Gerson, as an OBGYN and formerly a midwife, how would you assess Charlotte Bedford as a candidate for home birth?
A tragedy waiting to happen. She was frail, underweight, anemic, and she had a history of high blood pressure.
Thank you.
Would you say that pregnant women are often anemic?
Perhaps, to some degree.
And as a doctor, how would you treat that condition?
Iron tablets. Ferrous sulfate, usually.
You reviewed Sybil's records. What did she do?
She gave her iron tablets.
And did her condition improve?
Yes, but...
Thank you. I have a form detailing Mrs. Bedford's medical history. Do you see the words high blood pressure circled?
No.
So there's no indication that Mrs. Bedford confided her history of high blood pressure to Sybil.
But she had it. And bottom line, counselor, no responsible person, midwife or doctor, would have allowed Charlotte Bedford to labor at home.
Dr. Gerson, you began as a midwife. Why did you become a doctor?
Because I felt, as a midwife, I wasn't adequately trained.
And do you feel that most midwives are inadequately trained?
Yes.
Do you feel that they should be banned from delivering babies?
Yes, I do.
And so now you finally have the chance to get rid of at least one midwife, don't you?
Objection.
Withdrawn.
Now, Miss Heston, did Mrs. Danforth check Charlotte for a pulse again before she did the C-section?
No.
Did she do anything to confirm Charlotte was dead?
No, sir, not that I saw.
Thank you.
Miss Heston, prior to March 14th, had you ever been in an emergency situation?
Like what?
Anything. A car crash, a man with a heart attack, a train wreck.
No, nothing like that.
Nothing. Do you know CPR?
A little bit. A few days after Charlotte died.
Have you had any CPR training?
No.
No. Have you ever seen an operation prior to March 14th?
Pictures?
Miss Heston, had you seen one?
No.
So you've never seen blood spurt from a living or a dead body, have you?
No.
No again. So what in your background led you to make the wild assumption that the blood you saw that night was coming from a living woman?
It was the way that it spurted.
I didn't ask what you thought you saw. What in your background led you to believe that based on the bleeding, Mrs. Bedford was alive?
You didn't see it.
Your Honor, would you instruct the witness to answer the question, please?
Miss Heston, just answer the questions as they are asked. Proceed.
What in your training or experience led you to believe that Mrs. Bedford was alive?
I don't recall.
So, Miss Heston, your conjecture was made on the basis of no training, and absolutely no experience at all. Is that correct?
Oh, God, Sybil. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I had to do it. I had to call. You know you killed her.
Objection, Your Honor. I demand that outburst be stricken from the record.
So ordered. The jury will disregard Miss Heston's last statements. Court is in recess.
I'm so sorry, and I know you didn't mean to, but we both know that you killed her.
Miss Heston, that's enough.
Mrs. Danforth told you your wife was dead?
Yes.
What did you do?
Nothing. I went to the window and looked outside.
When she operated, you were standing at the window?
Yes, but I turned to look.
What did you see? Reverend Bedford?
I saw when she first cut her, remember seeing blood spurting? I remember seeing my Charlotte bleed.
Thank you, Reverend Bedford. No further questions.
Mr. Bedford, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I won't keep you very long. There's just something that confuses me. In your statement, you say that you were standing by the window. Was the sun up?
I'm not sure. It was still dark from the storm.
So the main light on the bed would have been from the bedside lamp?
Yes, but it was bright enough I could see Charlotte.
And you believed she was dead?
Yes, at the time.
You loved your wife?
Oh, God, yes. Very much.
You must have been devastated.
Yes.
Was it in that frame of mind that you thought you saw the blood spurt?
Well, yes.
So, it was dark. You were across the room. You were distraught with grief. Are you absolutely positive that you saw blood spurt? Mr. Bedford, is that your sworn testimony?
I'm not sure. I thought I saw it, but I'm not sure now.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Tierney, as county medical examiner, what did you find when you examined Charlotte's reproductive organs?
She'd had a placental abruption, but it had started to clot over.
So that isn't what killed her?
No, but it left her weakened.
In Sybil Danforth's statement, she said that Charlotte appeared to have had a stroke. Is that the case?
No. The brain would have shown significant changes. It didn't.
So, apart from this placental abruption, what did you find?
In my opinion, Mrs. Bedford vagaled.
Would you elaborate?
Yes, of course. Right here, in the back of our heads, is a pair of cranial nerves called the vagus nerves. In layman's terms, they help carry information from the heart to the brain. And in a particularly long labor, and I'm speaking here of hours and hours of very deep breathing, very, very hard work, the brain can eventually go hypoxic, sort of shut down from lack of oxygen. The heart will slow down, it can even stop, and you pass out. Some doctors say you vagaled out.
Can you die from this?
Yes, of course, if it's not treated.
Was this lack of oxygen to the brain the cause of death?
No. I think Mrs. Danforth's CPR actually brought her back.
What do you base this opinion on?
There were close to 750 milliliters of blood in the abdomen. With such an extensive loss of blood, the heart would have had to be pumping.
So would it be correct to say that Charlotte was alive when Mrs. Danforth cut her open and that she subsequently bled to death?
In my opinion, yes. That's what I stated in my report.
Thank you.
Dr. Tierney, You think Sybil revived her?
She must have. There was too much blood.
She must have. Do you have anything to support this opinion?
Nothing else is necessary.
Dr. Tierney, if you wanted categorical proof that a woman died during a C-section, how much blood would you expect to find in the abdominal cavity?
Categorically, perhaps 1,000 milliliters.
But you didn't find that much, did you?
No.
So your opinion is based on a flawed hypothesis.
Objection!
Withdrawn. I have nothing further.
Dr. Tierney, in this case, considering all your findings, was 750 milliliters enough blood to convince you that the cesarean was the cause of death?
Yes, most certainly.
Thank you. The state rests, Your Honor.
Mr. Hastings, you may begin your defense after lunch. Court will recess until 2 p.m.
So, Dr. Hewitt, you have no doubt that Charlotte Bedford was dead when Sybil operated?
None whatsoever. It's absurd to even ask the question. I've worked with Sybil Danforth as her backup doctor for close to a decade. She is an exceptional midwife. And if she tells me the woman was dead, then she was.
Unfortunately, I've had to perform autopsies on several women who've died from cesareans. And I've never seen less than 1,100 milliliters of blood in the peritoneal cavity.
That's more than Dr. Tierney found in Mrs. Bedford.
Yes, significantly. A full pint, in fact.
So is it your opinion then, Doctor, that Mrs. Bedford died of lack of oxygen to the brain?
It is.
And that she was already dead when Sybil saved the baby?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I keep thinking about what I wrote that day Charlotte died. I'm drawn to it. I've reread it 1,000 times. Every detail. And still that night's become some vague, haunting thing. Like a nightmare from years ago. Tomorrow I'll just have to find it in myself to be cool and confident on the witness stand. That's what I have to do for my family.
And you were certain she was dead when you saved the baby?
Absolutely. Yes.
What made you so certain?
I checked her. I felt for a pulse. I checked her heart. There was nothing.
Did Miss Heston and Mr. Bedford see you do this?
No, they were downstairs.
So they couldn't know that you checked Mrs. Bedford again?
No.
But you did?
Of course. Yes.
Sybil, you had never done a C-section. You had no surgical training. Why did you do it?
I knew the baby would die too. I couldn't bear to let that happen. Talk to him, Asa. Say something to your son. It'll be all right. He's such a beautiful baby. It'll be all right.
Sybil, there's one thing I'd like to clarify. If you knew that Mrs. Bedford was dead, why did you sew up the body?
I couldn't leave her like that. It wouldn't have been fair to her. Or her son. The way we come into this world means more than any of us realize, and I just wanted to make sure he had an image of how incredibly pretty and peaceful she was. I don't really remember turning out the lights when I was through, but I looked at my diaries the other day and I saw that I had.
Your medical notebooks.
No, my personal notebooks.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes?
What diaries?
Mr. Hastings?
Your Honor, this is...
I should be allowed to read them first.
No, I have already ruled. Please, now step back. I want all Mrs. Danforth's personal diaries from March forward in my hands by the end of the lunch break. Court will be recessed until I can determine if they contain information that is relevant to this case.
They're in my office. I don't think you'll have any trouble finding them.
Sure, I'll get them.
I'll go with you. I know right where they are.
Good.
I'll just be a second.
All right.
If he admits the notebooks, we'll have to ask for a continuance so I can evaluate what's in them. Is this everything?
Yeah.
I'll take them to the judge, and we'll get some lunch. This could take a while.
All right. Seated.
The notebooks in question are a personal account of Mrs. Danforth's life. There is nothing in them that is relevant to her testimony specifically or to the case in general. Therefore, motion to admit the notebooks into evidence is denied.
The closing arguments were anticlimactic. Both lawyers recalled the testimony of their expert witnesses, the prosecution's contending that Sybil had revived Charlotte, then killed her by operating. Stephen insisted that the defense experts had made it perfectly clear. Charlotte had vagaled and died, and Sybil had not been able to revive her. She had, in fact, taken heroic measures to save the baby from its dead mother. Stephen reminded the jury of my mother's excellent record and reputation as a midwife. Bill Tanner reminded them of Ann Heston and Asa Bedford's accounts. But Stephen countered that neither one of them was in a position, emotionally or otherwise, to make a judgment. When it was all over, it remained anybody's guess as to what the verdict would be. The only question left was whom would the jury believe. The burden of proof was on the state, and for the first time in a week, I believe they would acquit her. If I hadn't heard the myth about the jury looking at her, I'm sure I would have believed they would acquit her until the very end.
Please. Please look at her. Look at her, please. Please, look at her. Look at her.
All rise. Be seated.
Look at her.
Have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
No!
Will the defendant stand? How say you?
On the charge of involuntary manslaughter, we find the defendant not guilty.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are free to go. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, Stephen, for everything. I should have told you about the diaries. I just didn't think about it.
Well, it doesn't matter. There's nothing damaging in them. Look, Sybil.
Why don't you come back to the house?
I don't think so. But thank you.
I couldn't have endured this without you. I won't forget you.
And I won't forget you.
Decided to bring dinner.
It's okay. Honey, it's all over. It's okay. It's okay. It's over. Honey.
Oh, I was just thinking. Maybe I should redo this room. You know, maybe some nice wallpaper. Maybe irises. Lots of blue irises. There's nothing like it, you know. Just one miracle after another. Those little human beings struggling to get into the world. It was my life.
What do you mean, was?
I don't think I can do it anymore.
Of course you can. Of course you can. You saved a life. Be proud of it.
What if I don't have the courage to do it again? What if I just freeze up?
You won't. I know it. You'd never let somebody die if you could prevent it.
All these years I thought I took care of you and Connie. That you needed me. But I'm the one that needs you.
I know.
Hey, you two, save the mush for later. It's party time.
You go on. I'll be there later.
You can't hide up here. Everyone wants to congratulate you. I can't believe you.
Oh, Connie. The room was very quiet. Even the ice and snow had stopped banging against the window. I didn't want to hurt the baby. I told myself I just had to be incredibly careful. I don't think anyone but me saw the body flinch. At the time, I just thought it was one of those horrible postmortem reflexes. So I went on. And I believed it still when there was all that blood. And it just kept flowing. I'd checked for a pulse and a heartbeat. There hadn't been one. I knew she was dead. I was absolutely sure of it then. But now, a day later, after I've gotten some sleep, I just don't know. Whenever I think of that flinch, I just don't know. I don't know if what you did was brave or stupid. Or both. I want you to know I love you either way. But it was wrong.
I know. But I would do it again.
I understand how you feel, Connie, and I believe in trusting your instincts. It's what guides us. But you need perspective, too. Don't be so sure of yourself. You go plowing through life believing you're always right. You can make mistakes. What do you think now of what I did?
I'm glad you saved the baby.
We both understood that it was the question that mattered. That was the thing that made it clear that our lives as mother and child were in some way over. I was 14 years old, and I knew my mother's worst fear.
Why don't you come in and get something to eat? I'll be in a minute. Okay.
Years later, I became a doctor, an OBGYN. On some level, it was simply a desire to be around the miracle of mothers and babies. A legacy from my mother, perhaps. But the reasons go deeper still. I need to know, without doubt or reservation, exactly when someone is alive and when they're dead. As for the trial and all that happened, we never spoke of it again. A few months later, she stopped delivering babies for good. I'm sure some people thought it was because of Charlotte's death, and maybe it was, but not in the way they thought. She had lost her confidence. Without that, she knew her mothers and their babies could be at risk. And for them, she would give up anything. even her greatest joy.